Welcome to Survivor Sunday, where we celebrate strength, resilience, and hope. Each week, we will invite breast cancer champions to share their powerful journeys, allowing them to heal out loud so others won't have to suffer in silence. Every one of these stories is a testament to courage, faith, and the power of community. And we are here to amplify those voices. Now, today's guest is here to inspire, uplift, and embody the strength that comes from overcoming the toughest battles. As Psalm 107 says, let the redeemed of the Lord tell their story, so you won't want to miss this one. Now let's get ready to be empowered, because this is Survivor Sunday, where hope takes center stage.
So Auburn game 2000 was 2006, 2007.
And this story is how I cost you a family friend.
You cost the Abbotts a family friendship, yes.
Okay.
So we lived in Tallahassee for 13 years. We had two sets of families that were the three of us were friends. We did everything together. Kids grew up like brothers and sisters. We did everything together for 13 years. One family's Auburn fans, one family are Seminole fans. So the day of that game, they were at the game, and they all at the Georgia Auburn game. And the plan was they were going to meet Chris at the player gate after the game to tell him, see him, hug his neck, and congratulations. They got so mad. They were so mad because we beat them that we go to the player gate. Y'all getting ready to get on the buses, and we're looking around for them everywhere. And we're like, I finally got them to answer the phone after like 4 calls, and they were already back
almost to Atlanta.
Wow. They had left tailgate and were driving back to Atlanta already.
Wow.
So I was like, you know what? I said, since Trey had such a good game, and I'm going to tell you, the friendship has never been the same since. I mean, we're still friendly, but I mean, I'm telling you, we used to do everything together. They all live in Atlanta now. All 3 families live in Atlanta now, right. But we don't have a lot of contact with them. We have contact with them occasionally. But Trey, you single-handedly destroyed that friendship. So,
oh man,
I mean it in a good way. It was good. It was a good thing. I mean,
it seems like loyalty stops at state lines.
Yes, exactly.
That's it.
Once you cross that Chattahoochee, all bets are off.
Oh my!
I love it.
I just want to share that with you.
Oh, that's an amazing story. I'm I'm not sorry.
Too that they started leaving people were leaving and leaving. What was that the same one you said they're going to miss the best part of the game?
Oh yeah. I told them they started leaving. I grabbed this lady by the shirt sleeve. I said, "Man, you're gonna miss the best part of this game." I said, "Because we're gonna win."
Are you sure you didn't lose them because of little sly comments like that, or
No, it was definitely the 3 interceptions and us and putting the beat down on them that did it.
I got you. You know what a lot of people don't remember about that game is it was this big commemorative event prior to the game because it was that particular Eagles' last flight. And
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was that Eagles' last flight. They had Bo Jackson there and all kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess they sent that Eagle on the Chick-fil-A.
That's great.
Gosh.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Survivor Sunday podcast. I'm your host, Trey Battle, and we have some very special guests with us today. So let's take this opportunity to, one, introduce Jay and Teresa Abbott, but also take this opportunity to hear their amazing story and, more importantly, their mission, because we're going to get to their mission a little later in the podcast. And to start things off, let's really just dive in and address the fact that this is the first couple that we've had on the podcast. And this means we have an opportunity to not only experience the journey from the ladies' perspective, but we also get to hear the story from the support system perspective. And so this is just going to be amazing. And I want to dive on in and talk about the moment, Teresa, when you were first diagnosed with breast cancer, and what were some of the, the initial reactions and the emotions that you experienced? And pass that on to Mr. J. Like, how did how did you handle that initial diagnosis when you got word of it, as the support?
Well, in my case, I have been around breast cancer for probably most of my life because of other family members. So I'm not the first on my mother's side of the family with breast cancer. My mother's a survivor. She'll be 90 in January. And so I had family members that I saw go through this before I was ever diagnosed. Because of my family history, I began having mammograms at the age of 26, which is very unusual. But I have a very heavy presence. I'm the fifth on my mother's side of the family to be diagnosed. And I began having them at 26. And every year, it was like a test. It was a test I was having, and I would get a phone call that would say, all clear. That was until my 43rd birthday. I had, right after my birthday, had my mammogram, my annual mammogram. And I knew when I was having it that there was just something different about it. I left there. They had to do several different views, and now the way they do it is they'll tell you actually before you leave. But back when I had mine, they would do different views. They would look at them, decide if they needed to do more views, and so they had me wait. They had me come back in for some more views. So I had some extra views done that particular year. I had a feeling then, I thought they obviously saw something that they're exploring more. But I left after they said they had all the views they needed. The very next day, I got a call, which is that was a little quick. I got a call. I had my mammogram on a Thursday. On Friday, I had a call that I needed to see my doctor as soon as possible. So Monday morning, I was in the doctor's office. They had sent me to a breast surgeon that I had not seen yet before. Walked in. He looked at the mammogram views. He did an ultrasound. And I just knew I had this feeling that came over me that I knew that they were going to tell me that I had a malignancy. I had breast cancer. So he did the ultrasound. He showed me what he saw, and he placed his hand on my shoulder and said, I hate to tell you this, but I'm 99% sure with my experience that when we do a biopsy, it's going to be cancerous. To be honest, I kind of was expecting that. So it was sad to hear it. I was like, dang, I made it this far, but now, now I'm going to be one of those that has, gotten breast cancer. So in my family, and I'm joining that group. And so that was on a Monday. By Thursday, they scheduled me. And everything moved fast in a rapid pace. By Thursday, I was scheduled for a biopsy. The plan is that they would do the biopsy and then determine what we would do from that point. However, after he finished the biopsy, before we even had any results, I walked out of the exam room and they were already scheduling me for surgery. He said, we need to move fast. I think we have a very aggressive cancer. I mean, we didn't even know the type at that point. He just knew based on his experience, based on my mammogram, and based on him doing the biopsy, that we probably needed to move fast. So that was a Thursday that they did the biopsy. On Friday, I got the call that it was malignant. Monday morning, I was in surgery. Initially, the surgery that was scheduled was for a lumpectomy. He said, I think we can take care of it. We can do a lumpectomy. Then we'll determine what you need to have after that. I didn't have time. Basically didn't have time to go through really many emotions at that point in time. I knew, because I had thought about it before, because of my family history, I knew I had thought about what I would do if I was ever told I had breast cancer. So, I was immediately like, yes, let's do the lumpectomy. Let's determine what I need to do from that point, and let's just get it going. But they did the lumpectomy while I was in surgery. They came out and told Jay that my cancer was aggressive. They were unable to get it all by a lumpectomy, and that they would need to schedule me for the next Monday for another surgery to do what they call a sentinel node testing, which they determine if you have any lymph node involvement. And then according to what that showed, when they did that, probably have a mastectomy. I'm in recovery, and I'm like, yes, let's get this all done. I want to get this taken care of. So I basically was just like, I knew exactly what we needed to do, and let's do it. I didn't even allow myself really to be worried about it, to be upset. I just said, let's go. So I went in the next Monday, and I had a good number of lymph nodes. So I had about 18, I think it was, of about 23 that they had tested that were positive. So it was already in my lymph system.
Wow.
And it had grown even more by the time they did the mastectomy, but they told Jay that it was larger. He held his fist up and he said the tumor was bigger.
They originally told me that it was the size of a quarter. And then when he came out and talked to me afterwards, he held up his fist and he said, it's this big.
It was bigger than my fist. It was very aggressive.
And now it's just in a matter of, a short amount of time.
Yeah, 10 days. Basically, after I had my mammogram, I had already had a mastectomy.
Wow.
So, at that point, we did that. We did the surgery. And then I met with my oncologist to determine what my process was going to be. And, at that point, I think it's when it really sort of hit both of us. I think it hit Jay harder than me because I was in the fight. I was in the fight of it. I wanted to get it taken care of. I decided I'll do whatever it is I need to do. So the oncologist presented me with some options, and the best option was chemo and radiation. And even with the chemo that I would have to have, which they call the Red Devil because it is horrible, and radiation, between the two, they still only gave me 45% chance to survive 5 years. And I have a 20-year survivor. But I looked at him and I said, well, I'll take anything and everything you can throw into that because I'm going to do it all because I want to survive. He didn't take it as well as I did that day.
I can't even imagine. As you're saying that, I have this picture in my head of someone trying to mount a horse and they're just holding on to the strap and they're just, because it seems like you just held on and it was
Yeah.
out of the gate for you.
That was it. I mean, it was so rapid that I honestly did not really, I was just ready for the fight and I wanted to get it done. I would have started it that day. I mean, as bad as it was, I would have started it that day. But I just wanted to get through it, get it over with. I wanted to survive. At that point, Chris was at UGA. Um, I had our older son had just had a baby that was about a year at that point in time. So we had one grandchild. And, things flash, when someone sits there and tells you that here's what we have to offer, and, they tell you you've got 45% chance, I was like, okay, I want to see Chris graduate. I want to see Chris get married. I want Michael might have more children. There's things I thought about I want to be here for. And I was ready. I was just ready to go.
You were
And do
ready to
whatever it
live.
was I needed to
You
do.
were ready to live, and I love it. So as I hear that, I like I said, I had this vision of you just holding on to the reins
Right.
and you just headed down the track. But Jay, being on the outside looking in, how how was that experience for you? Even though it was so rapid for Teresa.
It was it was pretty overwhelming. Like she said, now I work for the airlines and I travel a lot. In fact, I work out of town some. And during this time, I was actually working in Charlotte during the week and then coming home on the weekends. So she calls me one night, and this is long, several days after this initial, whole testing and all this stuff. And she goes, "So I got some news," and she says, "It looks like I've got breast cancer." And she was like, man, she was like low downplaying it, lowballing it. I mean, just it's not going to be any big deal. They're going to do the lumpectomy, and they can take care of that, and then maybe I'll have to have some chemo, maybe I have some radiation. Depends on what. And she was really like low key in it to try to keep me from being upset. And of course, the first thing I do is get in the car and come home. And then when she went through the procedures and the doctor showed me that fist, it was like, oh my gosh, I mean, it was just unbelievable. I can't even describe the emotions. I mean, when you love somebody so much, and you don't want to see them go through anything like this, and but I have to tell you though, I think two things that were such a large key. Obviously, our faith, and and we knew that God had a plan, and that and we put all of our prayers and faith in Him, and in her attitude, just like she said. I mean, there was never Trey. I have to tell you, if I was that sick, I would. There'd probably be some self pity. But there was never one ounce of, or at least not that she showed in front of me. It was always, okay, let's go. We're going to fight this. We're going to beat it. I want to be here for Chris's graduation. I want to be here to see our grandkids, grow up, and all the things that we wanted to do, as a family. So she mentioned that Chris was at UGA when she was diagnosed his sophomore year. And so, that's one of those things you don't really want to call and, tell your son over the phone. And, he was exceptionally close, to his mom. I mean, we're very close knit family, but, a real special bond, with Teresa. And so me and his brother drove to Athens one night to go talk to him. And his first reaction was, okay, I'm quitting school. I'm quitting football. I'm coming home to take care of my mom. And, sorry, it's still pretty emotional. She had to get on the phone with him and say, listen, Chris, you don't need to give up your dreams. I'm going to beat this. I mean, she was so positive. I'm going to beat this. You stay there. You get your education. You do what you need to do with football.
Right.
And
that was his dream. So
if anything changes, we'll let you know. So he decided to do that. He stayed in school and obviously, and it all worked out for the best.
Yeah.
But we're sitting in that oncologist's office. We're sitting at a big conference table, and it's him and his assistant, and they tell you that your wife's got a 45% chance to live 5 years with the most extreme treatment that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And he described that as the red devil, and it's because he says it's not great. He says, but it's the best thing we have. Says we put it in your body, and it kills everything.
Yeah,
kills the bad cells, kills the good cells, and it's real. I saw it when I went with her for every chemo treatment, and it's just a IV bag full of this just the brightest red fluid you can imagine, and then they kill everything, and then they replenish the good stuff. And that process. How many treatments do you have? 12. It's over about a 4-month.
Yeah.
Once every 2 weeks for.
It was about a 6-month period for chemo and 4 months for radiation. So.
Gotcha. Well, I'm glad that Chris didn't quit, because we belong to a special group, Walk-Ons Forever.
That's all right.
Right.
2 SEC titles, 2 SEC titles, 2 Sugar Bowls, right?
Exactly. But as I obviously hear the distance, with your job being so far away from Teresa, and just the distance, even for Chris being so far away from his mother, and for you, Teresa, the pace in which things were going and having to inject yourself with that red devil, like that's all in the beginning. I mean, that's the first.
Right.
Wow, that's not even a year's journey, but the recovery, I'm assuming, takes even more time than that. So as you transition from those beginning stages, those first couple of months, what was the most challenging part of that treatment process, and how did you overcome it? Even though I just heard you're tough as nails, that must be where Chris got it from. But
Yeah.
what was the most challenging part outside of that red devil?
Well, the most challenging part was just on a physical basis. It is I'm somebody who's always on the go, and for me to not have the energy to do what I normally would do, frustrating, definitely frustrating, but mostly it was, I was just worried about how Jay and Michael and Chris were during this time, because they saw me physically not be as strong of a person as I normally am. And I just wanted them to know that I would be okay, and to make sure they knew that I was doing everything I could, to be okay. And I just didn't want to see them worry about me. That was basically the hardest part. And other family members, friends of ours, everyone took care of me. The football team took care of me. Coach Rick and Chappie, they were my support. My church family, my work family, everybody. I was out of work about 18 months, but I still had work family and associates to check up on me, send me flowers, send me a little, a, an encouraging wish, a card, send me balloons. I had a Florida Gator work associate who sent me orange and blue flowers.
So you went from the red devil to the orange and blue devil.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. But just my faith, it got me through. I knew I would beat this. Every ounce of being, I knew that I would beat it. I was going to beat the 45% chance of 5 years. That was my goal. And I did that, and I'm still doing that. So
I love it.
Trey, there is so many stories of support that we received over,
a lot.
Even more, but especially during that 18 months. You know what a great man Coach Mark Rick is. He would call and check, on Teresa. He would tell us that, that you guys, he would have prayer with Chris and things like that. And he,
Chappie would check on me.
Yeah, Chappie would call and check on us too. And the support was just unbelievable. We got a call. It was homecoming weekend. We were playing Vanderbilt.
03.
She was just getting ready to start chemo, and we're at dinner, and didn't answer my phone because we're at dinner. So check the voicemail. We get out in the parking lot, and it's Coach Rick. This is on a Friday night. And do you have children, Trey?
I do. I have 4.
So in a matter of 10 seconds, everything horrible that could possibly run through your mind was running through my mind.
Coach Rick was calling us.
I'm like, oh no, Chris has gotten hurt. He's in trouble. He's done something. Something's.
I think trouble probably came up first before, but
So I call right back, and it goes to the voicemail. And
because it's Friday before the game, y'all are all getting ready for the game. But
so leave voicemail, and probably about 15 minutes, Chappie calls me back, and he said, Teresa's really been on Coach's mind. He said, are you guys coming to the game tomorrow? Does Teresa feel like coming to the game tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah, we're planning on being there. And he says, well, Coach wants to meet with you before the game. So Chappie told us where to meet him and all this stuff. And so we go down the gate, and he takes us up into the tunnel where you guys would come out after halftime. And there's Coach Rick, and he's got a football signed by the entire team.
Signed a ball.
To Teresa, get well, God bless, and him and Chris were there, and they gave her the football,
which I still have sitting in our bedroom.
Yeah, so that's just one story of the tremendous support, from Coach and from the football team.
And the football team had devotion for me that day too, so that was really special. So I had a few of the football players who would call me their girlfriend. Just things to make me feel better. So yeah.
And no matter where we were, Chappie would always find us at the stands and come up and give her a hug and just check on her.
I love that. I love that, and I'm glad that you keep throwing out this concept of support, and that's so important for anyone who's going through any struggle. Right. I had a friend once who told me that if you ever want to know what your purpose is, you typically never have to look further than your pain. And acknowledging that quote, I know that you guys are doing some amazing things because of this experience that you've had. So tell us a little bit about BBBC, Bulldogs Battling Breast Cancer.
So
when did it start?
Well, it started after she got to feeling better. After she got better, and was strong and was getting back to her normal self. We said, listen, we've got to do something. We had so much support from friends, family, the football team, the Athens community, everywhere, that we need to do something to pay this forward, to give back and pay this forward. So
for all the blessings that we received.
Absolutely. So we decided that we would walk the first year. We decided we'd walk on the Susan G. Komen 3-day walk.
And what year was this?
So the walk we did was in 05, I believe. No, or 04. 04. Right.
So I don't know if you know how much you know about that.
This is the 20th year of our. Yeah.
When you sign up, you put your name on the dotted lines. You will raise X number of dollars.
Right.
And they don't care where it comes from. You write a check. You have fundraisers. But you're on the hook now for this amount of money to participate. So when Chris was in high school, I was president of the Booster Club for a couple of years, and we did some charity golf tournaments. And so we kicked around the idea of maybe having a golf tournament to help raise money to raise this money that we needed for the walk. And so I was in Athens one day, and I had caught it with Coach Rick after practice, and told him about the idea. And I said, would you and the football team come out and help us put on this golf tournament? Trying to make it something unique where the football players would be involved. We knew it would be a huge draw, and it would make would want people to come out. And I mean, without 1 second's hesitation, he goes, "Absolutely, Jason. Whatever we can do to help, we're glad to do it." So that's kind of how Bulldogs Battling Breast Cancer was born.
And it didn't have a name then. We didn't even have a Bulldogs Battling Breast Cancer. It was just we were going to do this, and we were going to do it one time.
So we had we had
it's what we thought.
We had it at the UGA golf course there in Athens.
Very first one.
And I think we had maybe 100 supporters. I don't know, 40 or 50 of the football players came out. Some of the coaches came out.
Right.
Coach Rick was there. I think Chappie came out. Was the defensive coordinator.
Coach Van Gorder?
No. Anyway, so a bunch of the coaches and the players came out, and it was, we raised like $10,000. Just throwing it together within a matter of
a few weeks. We really just did it in a few weeks' time.
And I'm telling you, Trey, the week afterwards, my phone blew up. They're like, man, you are going to do this again next year, right? You're going to do this again next year, right? And I'm like, well, we hadn't really thought about it, but sure, we'll do it. So I call Coach, and he says, man, if we can help, we're in. So that's kind of, we started the annual golf tournament, and it's still our marquee event each year, although we do a bunch of other events now too, but it's our marquee event, and we just had our 20th anniversary.
So we just did our 20th one, and it's grown. Of course, we eventually moved to the Georgia Club because we needed more.
We need more holes.
Right.
More holes. The more holes, the more teams you can put out there.
Right.
So
that's why we went to the Georgia Club.
And that's how it's grown. It's just grown. And we've had some of the same people. A lot of the same people who've come year after year. We get new ones in there too. When the word gets out to other people, we've
had a handful of people that've been there for all 20.
We've had to get more golf carts delivered because we can put more teams in. The football players still come out and play. We get former players. We get the current players that come out, and every year it sells out and usually very quickly.
Yeah. Coach Rick, every year, no matter what he had planned. In fact, he actually drove back to Athens up from a vacation 1 year to be at the event. He was at all 13
while he was
coaching there in Athens.
Wow.
We're truly blessed that Coach Smart picked up the support when he came, and he has had the players come out. It's one of their like community service things they can do, each summer. And we had, I think, 58 football players come out this past summer to put it on, and we've just been like super.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So outside of the golf or the proceeds that are raised, you're still not sending all of that to Susan G. Komen.
No,
right?
No, we missed. That was a very important part. Thank you for bringing that up. So we did that for a couple of years, and then we were approached by Coach Dooley and Barbara. Barbara is on the board at St. Mary's Hospital in Athens, and they approached us, and it made perfect sense. We wanted to do something where we could ensure that 100% of the money, we worked so hard to raise this money, we wanted to make sure that 100% of the money that we raised went to help women who needed help. No offense to Susan G. Komen, but they have a CEO that makes $1 million a year. I didn't want the hard-earned money that we worked for so hard and our supporters contributed to go to a CEO's salary. So we partnered after Coach Dooley and Barbara came and talked to us. We formed a partnership with St. Mary's Hospital there in Athens, and they developed a fund called Teresa's Hope, and the money we raise each year goes into this fund, and then they use it for mammograms for women in need, breast health services, education. They do upgrades to like the mammography equipment, the Women's Health Center, things like that. They use. In fact, just this past year, they dedicated the waiting room at the Women's Health Center to Bulldogs Battling Breast Cancer.
It's on the wall.
Had a big unveiling and stuff. So.
Wow. Now listen, I thought I was big stuff in Athens, but I don't have anything with my name on it at St. Mary's. Like I bow down to you, Miss Teresa. That's amazing. So
that was special. I mean, we're not in it for any of the accolades at all. I mean, that's very nice, and it's very special that they chose to do that. They surprised us with that. But it was mainly just what can we do to help others? And when we give the money to the hospital, they sometimes women who come into the emergency room for other reasons, and they don't have insurance coverage. They will ask them that when we cut our check to the hospital and it's in the fund, could they call them back for a mammogram if they've not had one? So they do some screening that way and get people in who have no means to pay for a mammogram. And each year they sometimes have 60 women, the different amount that they get each year that they'll, for people who come through the emergency room, that they can help out. But if it just helps, if it helps one person who maybe is then diagnosed and can get treatment versus not knowing and knowing too late. But
it's all worth it.
And then we they upgrade the equipment all the time, because of course that is a constant, that there's new technology out there, and so they upgrade the equipment with the money that we present to them. And I mean, we've done very well with our tournaments.
Trey, we've with our donation last year, we've raised $2.2 million.
Wow.
And that's just, there's basically 4 of us in the organization. There's Teresa and I, and our VP, Dwight Standard, and his wife. Now we have a huge slew of volunteers, and a lot of supporters, but basically it's just still just a mom and pop operation. But we anticipate with our donation this year we'll pass $2.5 million.
So with that number, who are some of your biggest supporters? Go throw out some of your big sponsors.
Well, probably one of our biggest is Cable East, which is a gentleman named Robert Wall. It has to be,
He would
and
not want you to
yeah,
say
he
it.
would not want me to say it because
Right.
he is like the most low key, not in it for the spotlight, you know. But he owns a company called Cable East, and they basically, if you have fiber optic cable in the Southeast, he he runs it. I mean,
Gotcha.
you know, I see his truck. We see his trucks all over, you know, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and he has got to be one of the most generous men I've ever met on the face of this earth. I mean, this guy is just, I mean, you know, he could be living in a mansion, you know, somewhere, you know, just sitting back counting his money, but he's out helping people all the time. He helps us. He supports us so much. We have another gentleman named Sean Callahan who owned a company called Swage Lock, and never heard of Swage Lock. It was this weird. We became friends with him through mutual friends from going to the Georgia-Florida game. Yeah. Now, the mutual friends, neither one of us are really that close to anymore. But we've stayed in contact. In fact, we just went to the Georgia-Florida game with them this past weekend.
Gotcha.
He owns. They make pipe fittings for these humongous companies like Georgia Power, and I mean it's like a really unique business, but they're very successful. And again, one of the most generous human beings I have ever met. I mean, he just recently he sold the company and retired, and he told me at his retirement party, he says, Jay says, I pledge to donate the same amount of money every year to Bulldogs Battling Breast Cancer that I and the company was doing while I was the owner. And he's been true to his word. He's been retired now for
a couple of years,
3 years maybe, and he writes us this huge check at the in the summer, and it's just, man, it's unreal. It's just
that's amazing. It's amazing how people like do it for the right reasons,
right?
And they make us who are on the receiving end of that feel so blessed. And it's just a pure heart. And as I think about that, I'm thinking through the ladies or the families who really didn't have that support system, because like a lot of women, Ms. Teresa, don't have access to Coach Rick. You know, a lot of people don't have access, as you were saying, with those ladies who come in from the ER, who don't have the resources to help themselves. And I can't even imagine the physical, emotional, and mental toll it takes on not only them but their families. So are there any practical steps or strategies or little tricks to the trade that you can present as I don't know, just advice to someone who is going through this struggle right now?
Well, basically, I mean, I know that it's probably it's difficult, but you know, doing your own research of treatment, seeking out groups. Like there are a lot of groups out there that you know, that within communities that do like 5Ks and things like that to raise money for people. But you know, reaching out to other survivors. There's always, you know, you've got a sister in this, because there's people before us and there's people after us who will be going through it. But you know, seeking usually the medical providers. I mean, I felt like I had a team. I had a team of people, and you know that sometimes you have to just reach out and get some people on your side, and people who will encourage you and support you as you're going through it. And you know, there are a lot of people out there that'll help you.
I tell you, Trey. We
just ask at the hospital, at the doctor's office. There are so many groups and people who are there to help. People provide wigs if you aren't able to afford a wig for yourself. I mean, you know, losing your hair, that's a lot of your identity. And I mean, there's just things out there that there are resources that you can.
Can I tell you a funny wig story? So you see,
hold on. Don't tell me a story that's gonna get you put on the couch tonight.
No. This is a great story. This will make her smile. So you see she has a beautiful head of hair. Well, when the chemo started, hair started coming out.
Right.
She tried the wig deal, just hated it. Made her head sweat and all stuff. So
I couldn't stand the wig.
She got a UGA bandana.
Yeah.
And started wearing this UGA bandana in lieu of the wig.
I never wear hats. I don't think I look good in a hat, but I would wear the scarf and then have the UGA hat. That became my wig basically because I couldn't stand all the wigs had too much hair. So
we're she's in the height of chemo now, probably spring. The years I'm not great with the years, but y'all were having spring practice, and I don't know if you remember, Coach. Coach, y'all would have on some Saturdays you would have practice in the stadium.
Yes.
The coach would invite the families to come up, and so we got to go to one of the practices in the stadium, and we're sitting up in that corner, right, where y'all would go into the tunnel, at halftime and come out, and we're sitting up in that corner there, and just talk about the support with some of the guys, saw us sitting up there, and God, I can't tell you how many tons, tens, 100 maybe, I don't know, came up in the stands to come and hug her neck and just tell her how much they were praying for her and how much she was in our in their thoughts in prayers. So I mean,
that was my
support like that, man. I mean, you can't you can't put a price on it. Just just makes your just makes your heart just
I got you. So at this part of the journey, and I hear how touching some of these moments are, but at this part of the journey, what does it mean to be a survivor to you, and what's a message of hope? Because what we say here on this podcast, we want to tell stories that allow us to heal out loud, to prevent others to have to suffer in silence. And we say this is where hope takes center stage. And being a survivor, what does it mean to you? And what's a message of hope that you can provide for someone else?
Being a survivor, it means life. It's life, living my life with no regrets, my family, my faith, just gratitude for each day. It gives you a different perspective of life when you have, when you're presented with the potential of a life-threatening disease, whatever that might be, and living life, encouraging others. No one's alone in their journey. There are people who are there to give you encouragement, support, your health providers, they're your partners, your spiritual partners, and everybody's a team. We're all a team. There's sisters in the fight. There are men who get it as well, but of course it's mainly women. But there are people out there to provide you support and encourage you along your journey.
That's
and
awesome.
Being strong, being positive, are probably, I think, the best attributes. Stay positive, know that you're going to beat this, and be strong. Ask for help when you need help, and just rely on the people you have around you, your circle, your team.
So Trey,
speaking of team,
we people who know us, we're on the go. We're on the go all the time, and I think that for us, for me, is, I mean, just trying to, I feel like that, we were given, God saw fit to give us a second chance, and just, do everything we can, for our life, our family, for friends. We are involved. In fact, we're going to an event tomorrow night to help a group that has foster children. It's not related to breast cancer, but we want to support, anything we can,
volunteer.
to try to, through the church or through, however to try to, just try to help as many people as we can. And that's what I feel like. Like I said, I feel like we've been given a second chance, and we need to, do everything we can to try to help others, because we've been truly blessed. So,
yeah. So in the spirit of, trying to help as many people as possible, where can people find out information on BBBC, Bulldogs Battling Breast Cancer?
We have a website. It's bulldogsbattlingBreastCancer.com. Like I said, we have the marquee golf tournament every July. We now have a second golf tournament in August. We do a number of other fundraisers. We sell T-shirts online. In fact, you can get one of our T-shirts online right now if you'd like. We partner with UGA Hockey. We're having Pink in the Rink in January.
We usually do it in October, but there's all this construction.
They're building the new arena there in Athens, so they postponed it till January. We invite people to come out. One of our sponsors buys special uniforms for the hockey team, and they wear them, and then you can bid on the jersey. It's kind of like the Braves have the jersey off your back type thing. They'll actually come after the game, get the jersey, autograph, make pictures, and all that stuff. And it's been very successful. We have a couple other things that we do through Points Challenge. We just finished up our October Points Challenge. We put out on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. People can pledge $1 or $2 or whatever per every point that UGA scores in the month of October. And actually, we expanded this year to include the Florida game, even though it wasn't in October.
Right.
And that's been very successful for us. We have a challenge when we play Tennessee. The group reached out to us from a children's hospital in Knoxville, and they threw down the gauntlet and challenged us to raise money during the week of the UGA Tennessee game. We did it last year for the first time. We had this big trophy, this really, really nice trophy made. It's got Georgia on one side and Tennessee on the other. And I'll just say this: we spanked them. We spanked them. We raised $23,000 that week, and they raised about $7,000. So now we've thrown down the gauntlet again. So I imagine they're going to try to rise to the occasion this year. But the money obviously goes to the charities, and then whoever raises the most gets bragging rights for the year and gets to keep the trophy. So we currently have possession of the trophy and plan to keep it, not give it back anytime soon.
Yeah, that's a great plan, and you better get your I guess respiratory system, your wind up, because if you're going to be talking junk for a year, get ready, because we all know what happens with orange after Halloween. It goes to the trash heap, every pumpkin. So that pumpkin orange in Tennessee.
That's right.
So I'm going to put a link in the description for BulldogSBattlingBreastCancer.com. And Jay, Teresa, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. Hey, everyone listening, be sure to like and subscribe to my Instagram and YouTube at Battle Solution, LinkedIn and Facebook at Trade Battle, and hit that notification button to stay on top of all the new content so you can continue to hear great stories like this, continue to get access to the amazing resources and the support that people like Jay and Teresa are providing. So with that, just want to say this is the Survivor Sunday podcast, and we're reminding you, keep hope alive, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trey.
Thank you.